buddy. What you got? Good job, buddy. Out. Fetch. Out. Come here. Fetch. Here. Yes. Oh. Good boy, buddy. Good boy, Dante. Come here. Out. Heel. Fetch. Yes. Good boy, Dante. All done. All right, check it out, guys. Oh, this is where I ruffle some feathers, and that's not my intention. It's really not. So there was a post in a group this morning, just to give you in a nutshell. Someone was talking about the force fetch. They taught the dog the force fetch or something like that. To make a long story short, the dog was shutting down and not performing the exercise, and it was not responding properly to the pressure they were putting on it. I don't know if it was through an e-collar, a leash, I don't know. But anyway, the dog was not doing what it was taught, what it knows how to do. And I believe, if I remember correctly, it was resorting to go into a down once the person started adding pressure. I may be screwing things up a little bit, but here was my point. I was about to chime in and give my advice, my take on it. And again, this is just the way I see things. But when I started reading the comments, every comment was geared towards the pressure, making the dog do it, how the pressure was being used or not being used, and why the dog should not have the option of not doing it. And I understand where they're coming from. And maybe this example with Dante just now is not beneficial, but any of my dogs, any of my clients' dogs, I do not have to use pressure to get them to retrieve anything, because they want to do it. It leads to good things. They love the exercise, okay? When I taught Dante the retrieve, Mango, Luca, any dog, I've trained it a couple of different ways. So my old school way, I used to start off with the hand in the mouth in a glove. That was the only forceful part of the exercise. I've never used a toe hitch, I've never used an ear pinch, I've never used e-collars, none of that to train the behavior. And I've taught it to a lot of dogs. I don't even do the hand in the mouth anymore, because once I started off by free shaping the exercise, and then if the dog starts struggling, helping him, showing him what I want, that's what it turns into. The dog loves the exercise. I work with a lot of gun dog people, not to train their gun dogs for that purpose, but problem solving. People that have hunting dogs, bird dogs, that run into behavioral issues, almost exclusively those clients come to me for the retrieve problems. Almost always we could turn that around in one session. Not too long ago, I videotaped some of it, showing you the difference in the dog that did not want to retrieve things. It was a bird dog, a German short hair pointer. By the end of the session, showing him retrieving things that at first he couldn't or didn't want to, okay? We changed the way the dog sees the exercise. Here's where it gets ugly, and some people won't like this. There's a lot of brilliant trainers in the gun dog world. Brilliant, very talented people. There's also a lot of people that train the same way today that they did 40 years ago, 30 years ago. So outdated. And the use of that force, when a more inexperienced trainer tries to adopt that style of training, they're going to run into a lot of problems. It's like if you look at the top Schutzhund trainers 30 years ago, look at the dogs in competition then as opposed to competition now. It's like night and day. Those dogs from back then with the best in the world couldn't compete against the dogs today, because training has evolved and trainers have evolved to make the training better, and the dogs want to do it. Okay, they want to do it. So if I would have chimed in on that post, I would piss people off. They would talk bad about me in other groups or right there, say, what does this guy know, right? But I've shown that exercise with a lot of dogs, and I show you the dogs loving it. So for those trainers that are struggling in the bird dog world with those behaviors, this is my advice to you and to all young trainers. What I tell people is, do yourself a favor and watch how the top level sport dog people teach it. Don't take my word for it. Don't watch me, how I teach it, but take the best of the best. Go look at Newt Fuchs, Mia Skogster, Dave Kroyer, Ivan, Marco and Sarah, right, at Canamo. There's so many people out there, right? Those are just a few that I mentioned. Tobias and Anna, Tobias Olenek, right, has a great channel. Watch how those people teach the train retrieve and how fast their dogs are and how they love it. Learn from them. And that advice goes to all young trainers in the pet dog world. If you're not learning from the top sport dog people, you're making a big mistake, right? Now, a lot of people don't know who those trainers are that I just mentioned, or at least most of them, right? Go look at Oscar Mora, Has at Shield Canine up in Canada. These are younger guys that are on social media a lot that do incredible work. Don't trust me, don't take my word for it. Go watch all those people, okay? You'll see a completely different way of training. But in that scenario where that person's saying the dog's not doing the behavior and shutting down, going into down, that dog's telling you something. That dog's not saying I need more pressure. That dog's saying I need better training. But if I say that, people get really pissed like I'm trying to be an asshole. I've had people unfriend me because I said, well, I don't really agree with that. And it starts off very cordial and, hey, look, this is how an adult conversation goes between people who don't agree. But then when the truth kicks in, who that person is, they get pissed off and blast me and unfriend me. So I said, well, let me just, instead of just talking about it, I try to show things, right? Hey, Dante, come here. Out. Fetch. Not over here. Out. Fetch. Here. Yes. There you go. Good job. Do what I'm asking to lead to what you want. Real simple. There's nothing fantastic about that. It's as basic as it gets. But if that person that asked that question doesn't have that basic ability, go learn from the best in the sport dog world. That's going to take you much further than asking a question in a dog group on Facebook where you're going to get more pressure, harder pressure, or more clear pressure. Every response was about pressure and making the dog do it. My question would be, why does the dog not want to do it? That's what you should be asking. So that's just my 2 cents. Go ahead and get pissed, blast me, curse me out, go talk behind the scenes, make a video about me, but it's the truth. And the good people know it's the truth. Do better by your dog. There's a better way of training than that shit that was being used 40 years ago, okay? Now I'm gonna go play with my dog. Peace.